Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Billy. Hello,
Hello, Johnny.
I've got a thing for doing Shalom Jackie at the moment. I keep getting that
Friday night dinner date thing, isn't it?
Yeah, Friday night dinner. I like watching that at the moment. It's good. For those of you who have joined us, thank you very much for joining us, and everybody else out there in all the different formats that this is going out in now. X, Twitter, no, X is Twitter, isn't it? X. Instagram is, in fact, I better check that's running now, the Instagram one. Is that running? Is that running? Is that running? Go live.
Evening, Tony.
There you go. Right. That helps, doesn't it? Let's come back onto here. Right, so we're out on Twitter, X,
Twitter and X.
Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and something else, and I can't remember what the hell it is. But yeah, and we're on the Things Network and the Simply Spooky Network and everything else. So yeah, for those of you who have been living under a rock, you'll probably know that we went and did our first Dark Mirror radio show investigation up here in Yorkshire at the weekend, and we'll get to it in a bit and tell you what happened. But Wayne came up, and Andy and his missus came up, and the landlord and landlady of the pub were there with us, and of course my other half Rachel was with us as well, and it was actually a really, really good investigation. So yeah, but and also Wayne's arse is now famous. It's now famous. It's haunted, you see, and every now and again you get a smell of sulfur, and everybody goes, "What the fucking hell's that?" And then Wayne's there going, "Sorry." So yeah, you know, we all know where that's come from. It's just, anyway, I take it was good. Yes, I'll take it as Andy. Hi, Rita. Hey, everybody else. Willow, everybody. We did have an amazing time at the weekend.
I would like to state that the only reason why it was like that was because of protein.
He made Rachel gag in the car. Oh, that sounded terrible. That sounded terrible. She was sat in the back seat, and he went, and the windows were up, and she was going, "No, that's not very like that." So yeah. She's not forgiving you for that.
The only thing I could say is it's better out than in.
Yeah, it was definitely better out than in, but not out and in an enclosed space.
I opened the windows.
Yeah.
And I apologised.
There you are. Right. Oh, and there's Andy. Oh, hi, Andy. You all right, mate? Andy and Laura are watching as well. And they're the landlords of the new inn over at, I can never remember the name of the place. Thornton Ladale. That's it, which is where we did the investigation. Very nice pub, and we will be going back investigating the rest of the pub at some point, hopefully in the summer. So stay tuned. I'm not going to say too much because, like I say, we'll get to it, and we'll talk about the investigation in the last half of the show. But UFOs. I have seen a lot of stuff. I've done if you see me posting things up on the Dark Mirrors wall, but there's been a lot of stuff happening in regards to hi Melody, in regards to there's something coming UFO wise, and the governments know about it. And I've noticed there's been a few obscure posts being put up on various platforms, but now they're starting to get more and more and more, and it's more and more upscale and high up people who were saying, "What's going on? What's going on? What's coming? I could see that there's something coming. What's going on?" So I have no idea what it is, but I have been keeping an eye on it and trying to follow down the rabbit holes. But when you get down the the MUFON have been hacked. MUFON have been hacked, and their main servers have been blocked out. They're locked out of their own servers.
And I think that's an inside job.
It's either an inside job or it's Bobberman. I don't think it's.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Bobberman, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason we say Bobberman is because when we've said the proper word before, we've had all our comments and everything shut down on every single platform. So we say the word Bobberman, so it doesn't. It doesn't. Howdy from Kentucky. Well, good evening there, sir. That's
I mean,
watching on you.
I mean, obviously, MUFON worldwide, they haven't really had that many issues before, and now
The
all of a sudden, their servers get hacked. It seems a bit strange.
aliens. Well, my problem with this is MUFON. They're supposed to be in the Mutual UFO Exchange, Mutual UFO Network. They're supposed to be there to, us civilians to be able to report stuff and this, that, and the other. Now, I tried to join MUFON when I thought it was legit, and I sent quite a bit of information to them in regards to certain things that have been going on. Your two are on the mantelpiece downstairs next to each other. And no, they were like, no. And then you get certain high-profile people who are on YouTube and that, who are members of MUFON, and they suddenly get higher and higher and higher. And all us little people, we get ignored. And now all of a sudden, with everything that's coming, and all platforms are saying that there's something coming. Oh yeah, and the year to look out for apparently is 2027. Apparently that has been predestined and prearranged with all presidents and heads of states. That is when our brothers, neighbors from other planets are going to come and go, Shalom, Jackie. And they're going to come along and say, hey. So, 2027 apparently. But if you remember last year, we found out that this year, 2024, something major is going to happen in the UFO world. Is this the start of something major, or is it the start of Project Bluebeam? Because you can't trust the Bobbermans. What do you think?
I don't know, because I've been sidetracked.
Please, Eric.
With this business that's been going on in Chile. And it's a bit worrying, really, to be honest, because I've had to sort of double check it and look at different sources. Did
you try coq au vin?
Sorry?
Did you try coq au vin or chicken chasseur?
Yeah.
Job done. Carry on.
Okay. The wildfires in Chile.
Hey, Irene.
There has been various reports originally that it was something similar to do with the Hawaiian wildfires.
Yeah.
And everybody turned around and said, no, it's got nothing to do with it. They get wildfires all the time, blah, blah, blah. Only it seems a bit strange that, yet again, as with the Hawaiian ones, anything that was blue wasn't touched.
Yeah. We were talking about that, wasn't it, when you came down? And I found that whole thing bloody weird. Nothing blue was touched in any of the wildfires.
I mean, in Hawaii, there was photos of buildings that were blue and blue beach umbrellas. They weren't touched, yet everything around it was scorched.
All the Hawaiian Smurfs were fine, but their hats were burnt to crisp.
But yet again, in Chile, there was a blue building, and they literally a camera car had gone down the street, and you could see all the people trying to clear up the mess, and all the burnt out cars and everything else was absolutely wrecked. And yet this one blue house
and the trees
was intact.
Yeah, the trees were intact as well.
Yeah.
That was a directed energy.
And then, of course, when you look at one of the sources I saw, they literally showed you the blue house. They showed you the devastation. And then they showed you this laser going over various types of material. And all the different colors of material caught fire except for the blue one.
Which is weird because lasers use RGB as well. Light amplified source of emitted radiation. What's so special about blue?
But then then someone had stated that the CERN satellite was over Hawaii.
Yes, I read that. Yeah, that's right.
It was also over that particular town during that wildfire. And then, bizarrely enough, someone actually mentioned something about a company that was buying up the land in Hawaii has a head office in that town, and that building got roasted. Someone not happy.
What do you guys think? I don't think that these wildfires are aliens. I think this is being used as an excuse, and it may be part of Project Bluebeam. I don't know, but
well, the thing is, we know. Well, it's. I think it was smokescreen, but they said about the Star Wars satellites.
Yeah.
And I think they've got an advanced version of the original Star Wars satellites up there, and they're using them.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I can remember Reagan when he put the proposal forward for Star Wars, said, "Yeah, we've got them up there." I can remember him going on a big conference saying, "Yeah, we've already got them up there." So, but they were supposed to be missiles, weren't they? They weren't supposed to be directed energy beams.
No, the point is that was back in the 80s. We're now in 2024.
Yeah.
So, how many? I mean, we know they're launching satellites all the time.
Yep.
So who's to say that satellites have gone up to replace the original Star Wars ones?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, look at the Space Force that we got going on. When Trump, that fucking what's it with the blonde wig, was he said, "Oh, it started. We've already done it. We've already got boots up there.
Yeah,
we've already got ships up there." So, some of the ships that have been reported lately, are they the Space Force ships? That's not supposed to be.
And they're still talking about the Dark Knight satellite as well. They're being told to keep away from it.
Oh, they're actually not saying that it's a windscreen cover or a tarpaulin inside the hold.
They haven't stated that the Dark Knight satellite is non-terrestrial, or we put it up there or whatever. But they're just saying now that any vehicle or satellite that goes up into space is steered away from it. They're not allowed to go near it.
Because wasn't it there was a source code decoded that was coming out of there, and it was talking about the Andromeda system. It originated from the Andromeda system, and it originated from that part that is blocked out to all our telescopes. There's one part of the system that we cannot see, and it's all coming from that one bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's strange because I mentioned it to someone the other day. I think it was when I was talking with John Paul Newlands. How strange it is that you can look at the satellites that are around the Earth, and yet all of the satellites, none of there's all bar 3 or 4 satellites that don't go over the North and South Pole.
I'm going to have a cola cube, Albin. I'm sorry if anybody gets offended by me munching.
But there are about 4 satellites that do go over the North and South Pole. All the rest don't go anywhere near it. They're kept away from the North and South Poles. And someone had said in the chat that, well, they've got no need to go over the North and South Poles. So why have these other 4 got to go over? The only answer to that is they're military satellites. But if that's the case, why is it that only the military satellites can go over and none of the others can?
Just something I want to bring up here. You're absolutely spot on. That there, Lynn said, down in Antarctica, they've got it's not CERN, it's the other one. What's the other military one where they test all the new weapons and everything? Can never remember the acronym. Anyway, they got that down there in Antarctica, and they have got a direct beam energy weapon based on the original radar from the Second World War. Because our original first lot of radar, not new lot, the very first original radar was knocking out UFOs. The government knew about this because I think the first one that was ever knocked out was 1943. Don't quote me on that. It's 43 or 44. And they discovered that the original radar, if focused into a beam, could take down certain UFOs. And I know they've been working on that for years and years and years and years. A whistleblower came forward and said, yeah, actually, I was working for DARPA. And down in Antarctica, where they've got one of their research bases, and they've got a directed energy weapon that can cause not just taking down of UFOs, but it can cause earthquakes and wildfires. And they've also got the laser program that they're trying to put on the planes and everything, that they've said one in space doesn't exist, but again, the whistleblower said it has, and it does exist. Is that what's causing these fires? But they have directed energy weapons now, and they've had them for a while. The same as rail guns, which fires aluminium shells at the speed, almost the speed of light.
Yeah.
They said they don't exist. They have been in existence into World War II, and railguns used to be on trains. That's why they're called railguns. But they've had portable versions of those since the mid-80s. Now, I know that purely from my late father, who was MI6. I know they've had railguns. And I'm telling you now, they've had railguns, and they've still got them now. And they're doing more and more and more and more stuff. And they're still going, no, we haven't got anything. Bollocks. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, the thing is, though, with what Lynn has said there, Turkey is literally sitting on fault lines.
It's only going to take a little time.
Turkey's geographical area is located almost entirely on fault lines. And last year alone, they had 20,000 earth tremors. So when you've got near enough an entire country sitting on fault lines, they're going to get earthquakes. It's just down to the magnitude of the earthquake. You know, you might just get dinky little earth tremors. And then
that's because Smurfs are a protected species, so you can't burn Smurfs.
Well, this is what they said about what's her face, Oprah Winfrey, didn't they? And someone jokingly said, "Is that house owned by Oprah Winfrey in Chile?" No one actually answered it, but it got quite a few laughs.
A fault line is where, God, how do you explain tectonic plates?
Right, tectonic plates. When the Earth formed, you had the tectonic plates and the continents, and the tectonic plates are where they either hit each other and form up, which turn into mountain ranges and volcanoes, or one goes under the other. And normally, when two tectonic plates meet, they come together, and then all of a sudden they snap.
Yeah.
And that creates the earthquake, or they come apart, which is then when you get the volcanoes, which will also bring earthquakes.
And then go like that.
Yeah, or one goes under the other. They move in different ways, but that basically is when there's the sudden jolt and you get the earthquake. And you will have them all the time. They're all over the world. The world is actually covered in tectonic plates, so nowhere really is safe from an earthquake.
We actually, Lorna, we've had lots of different continents that are now under the sea, and that's due to tectonic plates rubbing up and causing whole continents to go badoof. And they think that the Turkey one, because it takes out other countries that surround it as well, if those go, that particular part of Europe will go under the sea, and it'll cause like a pressure system. It'll cause another one to rise up, like Lemuria or Mu or even Doggerland, which were three. Doggerland used to connect the UK to Europe. Lemuria and Mu were between Asia, Australasia, and the bottom of Africa, and that all around there.
Right. So there are 7 major tectonic plates and 8 minor ones, and the largest tectonic plates are in the Antarctic, Eurasian Peninsula, and the North American plates. So you've got 15 plates there around the world.
Don't Hitachi make those things you see in naughty movies that are about that long and go? I'm sure
I don't know. The last thing I ever got from Hitachi was a video player.
Fucking hell. That was a while back.
So, but yeah, so I mean, basically, there's, we've had earthquakes in the UK. We had one here in Colchester in 1880, and it ruined a lot of Colchester.
Yeah, I know, Irene. You guys get earthquakes all the time. Some really bad ones as well. So yeah.
And that's what
those of you watching Irene in Japan.
I experienced one when I was visiting my sister one year, and the earthquake itself was in Albania, but it was that strong that we felt it in Corfu, and we were sitting in my sister's boyfriend's bar, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden the bottles on the shelves started doing
They were
this.
pissed, really. They were
And
drunk.
everybody started running outside. The barman ran underneath the doorway, and I just carried on sitting there drinking my drink. And he's going, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, get outside, get outside." I said, "No, it's all right. I'm not moving nowhere." And he went, "Why?" I said, "The first bottle that comes off the shelf, then I'll think about going outside. But while they're just sitting on there wobbling, I'm not going nowhere. There's no point." And of course, it literally lasted 30, 45 seconds, and then it stopped. But everybody was out in the street. And I said, "Look, I would rather get squashed instantly by the roof caving in on top of me than getting electrocuted by all the electric cables that are floating around outside."
See you later, Lynn.
You know, it's I'd rather get killed instantly than wait to die underneath a load of electric cables. But while the bottles were only just wobbling gently, right then, I wasn't going to entertain it, so I just carried on sitting there drinking. It's crazy, but you know, it's. I mean, obviously they didn't get an earthquake the magnitude that some places get, and obviously if it was that bad, I would have done a runner. I'd have got out quick, but I wasn't too fearful.
Wasn't your ass cracking
off? Just wobbling.
You sure it wasn't your ass cracking off?
Nah, it definitely weren't.
All right. Because we've all experienced your ass cracking off. Can you smell sulfur? No, it's Wayne's ass. I don't know. All this that's going on, I've seen a lot of those videos that you're on about with Chile and everything like that. It's very, very strange. Very strange how all the cars are burnt out, yet the trees are safe, the blue houses are safe.
Anything that's blue, and it just, you know, I mean, if it is being done on purpose, how did they think no one would see the similarity between the two wildfires? You know, I mean, how many fingers can be pointed at the same wildfires?
I'd love to find them.
I mean, people like Corfu and mainland Greece, they had wildfires last summer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but no one's mentioned anything being coloured blue there. It was just total devastation, even stuff that was blue. So why has Hawaii and Chile been different? And the only answer is because it was done on purpose.
I was going to say some wildfires are real. Like there was one of the California ones. 2 guys have been charged for it. Started by accident.
Well, the ones that happened in Corfu last year, it turned out that three blokes were responsible for setting the fires, and 2 of them got caught, and they openly admitted that a big travel firm had paid them to set the fires to clear the ground so that they could purchase it cheaper to put hotels and apartments on. But
I bet they took the can for it, though, didn't they?
So, well, they would have done because they'd have got arrested. They never caught the 3rd bloke, but the first 2 they got done for it. But I suppose when they get released from prison, they'll have a nice little pay packet to share out because they wouldn't say who it was that paid them. So, you know, and then Turkey had wildfires, but no one mentioned about anything blue there. And obviously, the likes of countries like Turkey and Greece, blue is quite a predominant colour.
Yeah.
So
with the flags and everything,
you know, they're flat. Well, Greece's flags, but a lot of their buildings and stuff are blue. You know, no mention of that. So, what's the difference between Greece's wildfires, Hawaii, and Chile?
Do you know what? I'm going to have a look into this after we've done the show at some point this week. I'm going to look into whether lasers can actually recognize blue, or if there's a particular type of laser that doesn't recognize blue or whatever. But we'll have a look.
Because if the laser came at you, most of your torso will be all right.
Just fucking will.
That'll just scorch everything else and just leave your torso alone.
Yeah, I'll tell you another thing to do. Never, ever hold a jet wash. Fucked. Anyway.
I use my pressure hose to get the soap off my hands when I'm washing the car.
I can remember my little bro Tom. He watches this sometimes. When he was younger, he had his dad's pressure washer and he put his hand over the top and, oh, what's this going to do? And he went, and it blew a hole in his hand and he was like, Dad! That was a bit silly, wasn't it? Yeah. But, yeah, very strange events going on at the moment. Keep your eyes peeled. There's something coming, and that's not just from us. We said this on this show last year several times. There is something coming. Be careful.
I think we said that a little bit earlier than that, actually, to be honest.
Well, everything that we've ever said.
I'm sure it was right back in 22 we said it.
Probably. Yeah, actually, it probably was. Everything that we've ever said is going to happen or is going to come out and this, that, and the other has happened. We're not trying to predict the future or anything. It's just because we do our research, you know.
We're time travelers, we are.
This is what you're going to look like in the future, guys. It's because of the masturbation problem gets out.
Well, you've got to remember, we lost an hour on Saturday.
We did lose an hour on Saturday, yes. Dear. Shall we talk about what happened? Oh, yeah, and thank you everybody else who's joining us on all these different platforms, because I can see up the top there, yeah, you're all joining us, so it's really cool. And it's nice to see all these new faces and stuff, so thank you for joining us. This... Have you farted again? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Have you?
I just got a cinnamon jelly bean. You can have that free of charge.
You smelly bastard. Oh my God. No. Wait, what day?
Why is it spicy? That's what Rachel was doing in the car when he did it.
I'm armed.
Died.
Chicken.
I'm gonna put
Anyway,
house.
this show.
Anyway, Saturday night.
Yeah, this show is predominantly UFOs, conspiracy theories, USOs, cryptozoology, all that sort of thing. But Wayne and I, we cover all aspects of the paranormal. Our own part of it is paranormal investigations. And we did a really good one, or we had a really good investigation Saturday night at the New Inn down at Thornton Liddell in North Yorkshire. And the landlord and his missus, or I don't know if they both own it together, but landlord and landlady, Andy and Laura, they're in watching tonight. Brilliant hosts, very interested. And we found some cracking stuff out that we didn't know about that place. Start off with when we drove down there, Wayne's eyesight failed him and he hit a curb by accident.
How's it go?
I'm in the car going like that, and he's like, "What?" Bang, and took out a tire. So we had to sort that out. Then when we got there, oh yeah, and thank you, the other Andy, for picking me up to get my car. So I just had a romantic message from Rachel. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, darling. And you can hear Badger in the background singing the song of his people. Fucking dog. Anyway, yeah. And we got there and we set up and everything. And then we went up to the old part of the pub, because it's an old coaching house. And as you guys saw, or may have not seen, there's 2 videos up on the wall at the moment, because we did the live in 2 parts. And it was just the second part of the investigation was very interesting, wasn't it? And I'll let this young man here tell you a tale.
Well, it was all quite interesting, because some of you, those that did see the live feed, we had set up various trigger objects in one half of what was it? It was the old servants' quarters, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
And it was basically you go up some steps and then there's 2 rooms, and we set up a couple of trigger objects.
They think of derelict rooms now, aren't they?
One cross on a piece of paper, and we set up a chain as well in the shape of a square. So we basically asked if they were there. We drew around the cross. If they were there, could they move one of these objects? And then we also set up what I call my it's a crystal ball, but it acts on vibration. So if anything was to knock it, it would activate and it would make all these funny noises. But most of the things that happened were in the other room. We found a notch. It looked like it had been over a course of time, or something had actually worn
this wood.
a little groove inside this beam. But we were getting, it was strange that we were getting stuff happening in that
Your
particular
skull
room.
kept going off at the beginning.
Yeah.
Eric
skull
made
bit.
the proximity sensors for us, and we used mine. I didn't know it had been going off. Wayne said, "Oh, did you know it was going off earlier?" It's like, what? So yeah.
Yeah, I called out to you as it was going off right at the beginning of the night. No one was standing anywhere near it, and you have to be pretty close to the skull for it to go off.
Yeah, you do.
And it doesn't just go off at random, which is unusual. And when I tried it at Ruffin Control Tower, it was going absolutely bananas, and then it literally knocked it off the display case. But what was sort of more fascinating was the second part when we went back up there, because we'd already picked up 2 spirits inside that section. One was called Nicholas and one was Patrick. And we got that Nicholas had been hung. But when we went back the second time, it turned out that both Nicholas and Patrick had been hung in there.
And we saw them. Well, sort of.
And then after we did the dowsing rods, we got a bit more clarity on what happened. And it had turned out that the landlord had done something based on a
Not
rumor.
Andy.
Yeah, the
original landlord from
way back
1920s, 1720s.
had done something to his wife based on a rumor, but so he didn't get the blame. He blamed these Nicholas and Patrick, and they hung Nicholas first off that beam, hence why the groove had started to be made, and they hung him in front of Patrick, and then they hung Patrick. So it was very strange to get the answers there. And when we also had the figure appear in the window looking out into the courtyard as well.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, using something like a Kinect camera, 9 times out of 10, if it picks up something with a certain shape, it will automatically fill in the blanks and put a stick figure in. So when it first appeared, I automatically thought, oh, it's because of the boards that are up against the wall. But the problem was, these boards were too low down to where the stick figure was, which wouldn't normally happen. It would have picked the top of the board and automatically put the stick figure's shoulders at the top of that board. But it wasn't. It was literally waist height. So it was completely out of kilter. But when we asked it to move over to where the table was with the pen and the cross, it did.
Yeah, it did.
It walked away from the window and walked over to where the cross had been placed. So it.
Not only that, the cross
Quite
had been
fascinating.
moved a little bit, and it had been moved.
Yes,
been
we
moved.
had the cross moved as well. I think it moved about 0.5 centimetre, and you could clearly see it had moved. So
You'll see on the videos if you look on the Dark Mirror Radio
Yeah.
Show's Facebook wall. You can see the videos. Look
But
at video 2, second half.
we think as well that there is a residual haunting inside the main part of the pub.
The main pub, yeah.
But we didn't get the chance to investigate the pub itself, which is why we want to go back. Because I was picking up on something that was sort of eager to go backwards and forwards from the kitchen into the main pub.
We're not going to say what, because there will be a part
Yeah.
2. They also have guests that stay over because they're a guest house and they do food and breakfast and everything like that. So unfortunately, the rooms were all fully booked, so we couldn't investigate upstairs, and we couldn't really investigate the main part of the pub because it was too late by the time we'd finished doing all this. Wasn't it? It was nearly 3 a.m.
So yeah, so there is something residual in there, but obviously once we go back again and investigate it again, we'll be able to look into things a bit more. But we did get some interesting readings on EMF meters when we first got in there.
Yeah.
Things like electric cables that weren't turned on were actually given off an EMF meter reading, which they shouldn't do. If there's no electricity going through the cables, the EMF meter wouldn't have any reading. Yeah. The second I got close to these lights, which weren't switched on, the meter reading was going through the roof. And we found it was some of the lights as well. Some of the lights were a lot higher than the others. So,
and there was that strange little window, wasn't it? Because this building was built between 1718 and 1722, I think it was. You can't actually find out the whole of the village. You can find out all this history on all the buildings apart from this one building. The records have been hidden away. No, very odd, but they've been hidden anyway. And in this building is it's like a little cubby from a church.
Yeah, it's like a little cubby hole.
Yeah.
And it's solid. It's made of stone, and it has what appears to be like a gargoyle's head and two hands either side, like that.
It's got protection spirit over the top, hasn't it?
And it has got an inlay. There is a little inset, and to me, it looked like it was to hold something. There was something would have originally have been placed in that cubby hole, and it would have been of importance. Hence why the gargoyle was sitting over the top of it. I think there was something of importance being placed in there, but it didn't belong to the pub. It's come from somewhere else. So,
but it'd been used in the building of the pub. It was, reclaimed from an old church.
And again, the problem is without having found any history on the building, apart from when it was built. That's it. There's nothing else there.
Well, the thing about Thornton le Dale is it's a very, 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 very old village, and it goes back to almost 2,000 years, very nearly 2,000 years. The church that's there comes from the original English Civil War. There's still musket ball dents in the church. There's almshouses. There's a lake that we are going to go back to and investigate because it's a horrible feeling when you get near there. There's something horrible up there, and this is very near the pub. There's lots of other places. There's the world's, not just the UK's, but the world's most photographed cottage. It's got a river that runs past all cottages.
There's the stocks outside as well.
Yeah, the stocks outside and the market cross. Very old village. But as I say, this pub, if ever you are on holiday up here, go in. Andy and Laura, really nice guys. As I say, they do rooms there, they do food there, and it's a really nice atmosphere. Even the locals join in a laugh, don't they? But yeah, it's good. It's a very good place. I recommend it.
Yeah, the locals thought it would be funny to play the Ghostbusters theme tune because we were in there.
Yeah,
we haven't heard that one before.
But as I say, it was. The only reason the answers that we investigated there was purely by chance. I popped in there with Rachel because her mum used to work there in Penfield. And we had a drink, and then Laura said, "Oh, what do you think of ghosts and stuff?" And I was like, "Funny you should say that." And I told her, and she's like, "Oh," and that's how it came about. But I never expected to find out the information that we found out from the dowsing rods, and what you'll also see on the second video where Wayne's using the dowsing rods. So many people are really skeptical about dowsing rods, including myself. And you'll see I put the torch directly on his hands, on his thumbs that were holding the wires, and the camera was on him. And you will see in the whole of that thing, he wasn't steering it.
And there was points where I had my eyes closed as well.
So it was very good, and it was close for no, open for yes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
I
both
mean,
those,
that's the thing with dowsing rods for communication. There's not the sort of thing where you could turn around and go, can you tell us your age? Because you've only got two possible answers. So if you've got communication there and the dowsing rods are answering you, you have to give it like a multiple choice question. You have to give the question followed by an open for yes or close for no. Or are you between open the rods for you're between 16 and 25 and close them for 26 to 35, things like that. So you gauge what is coming out based on those questions. And that was the course of action throughout that whole experiment. And to get the answers we got were pretty bizarre. One thing we didn't ask, though, was how old Nicholas was.
No, we didn't, did we?
No, we didn't. And Ellen had got that he was about 30.
Yeah, she said, I remember her saying he was in his
Which
30s.
was bizarre because Ellen was watching the live and she came out with stuff as we were getting it.
Yeah. So it was really interesting. It was really interesting.
Magic.
Eric says I was watching his hands when he did that, not move his hands at all. It was awesome. No, exactly. And I've seen people steering them. I've seen people on Ouija boards moving it, and it's like we tried to use the Ouija board, but there wasn't enough energy. I think that where they kept showing themselves, because we kept seeing them looking out of a window, and one of them was looking out of the window, wasn't it? And the one in the other building, he was down near where they were hung, weren't they?
Yeah.
And it was really weird, that one, when it came up on the SLS where they were hung, because you'd see a figure there and then it dropped to the floor flat. And then it would go back like that and then drop to the floor flat.
And the thing was as well was there wasn't really anything on the wall or the floor that could have signified
there was no shadow or shape that could
the camera to actually put, there's shoulders there, or there's a shoulder and head or an arm. And when it first appeared on the wall, it looked as if its head was a bit crooked, but it had a whole arm, but it was facing upwards like that. And I thought, well, that's a bit strange. And then Mark come over and looked at it, and all of a sudden it dropped to the floor right in front of you, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was almost like they were cutting him down. He'd been hung, and they were cutting him down, and the body was just dropping to the floor. Because then the next minute, it's sitting on the floor, and we're like, hang on a minute, that shouldn't do that. And you actually see it come down. So it wasn't wall, floor. You see wall, floor.
Yeah.
So
I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that do that before. That's never done that before. I've never seen it.
And the thing with SLS is, for anybody who doesn't know what an SLS is, it's literally an Xbox Connect camera, and it picks up stick figures, and that's how it helps you interact with games. Well, that can be used on investigations. SLS cameras, if you've got like shadows on the wall, or if you've got an old building where you've got faded plaster and bits are darker than the other, it'll find a shape and it'll put a body there. Because it was trying to do that in other bits, wasn't it? And we were looking and going, no, it's not this, it's not that.
Yeah, well, we explained to Andy and Laura, didn't we, that it's quite popular with fire extinguishers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I proved it by pointing it at the fire extinguisher, and the top of the fire extinguisher where the top goes up to the nozzle, it straight away picked up that as shoulders and a head, and automatically put this dinky little stick figure over the top of the fire extinguisher. And then obviously in comparison to the window, there was a few old blackboards propped up against the side of the window, and it literally put the stick figure above these boards. Right, yeah. But there was nothing up there in that particular area to actually fill in the blanks and put a stick figure in. There was just nothing there to do it, yet it was still there.
Okay, sorry, I was just reading what hang on. No problem, Irene. You have a really good Valentine's Day. And
Irene,
see you again.
I get chocolates on Valentine's Day as well, so don't worry.
I do.
I
know. I'm not.
I like me matchmakers.
Actually, there's After Eight up there.
I've still got our Christmas chocolates to eat.
Yeah, those figures on the video, you'll see I go over to where this figure was looking out of the window. And the weird thing is that window looked directly across to
Yeah.
what would have been stables, didn't it?
Yeah,
They
the
used to-
stables and the back of the pub itself.
Yeah, they're now old toilets and storerooms now. But yeah, and this figure just kept looking out. And when we spoke to Andy in that, he said a few times they've thought they've seen something looking out of that window. And then, as we said, we had the chalkboards came up to about waist height. And if it was the SLS picking up on that, it would have put their arms and shoulders at waist height.
Yeah.
At the top of the chalkboards, but it didn't. This was a full figure. I went over and moved the boards, looked all behind, mate, to see if there's anything else. There wasn't. There wasn't a great big chunk of plaster missing. There wasn't a big difference in shades on the wall. So it wasn't that. And as Wayne said earlier, when he said, could you move over to where the cross is and move that, and you see the figure just move away. And then he turned the camera and pointed at where the cross is, and it was standing there. And again, this was full figure, not at the height of the table. Explain that. Oh.
Yeah, it was certainly a weird one. I mean, for a place that hasn't been investigated before, to go into a place fresh like that, and to get that sort of reaction from Spirit was really good. Yeah. A really good experience.
It's one of the best investigations I've had for a long time. And yeah. we were the first team ever to investigate it. It's never been investigated before. So, and we were very privileged to do that, you know. So it was a fucking good night. And as I say, this show's all about UFOs and stuff, but occasionally we do investigations. And I'm hoping throughout the year we might get some up where we can get ticketed ones, you know, and we can start doing some investigations with some of you guys out there. But for now, that was, like I say, that was a brilliant investigation, and we will be going back to do part 2, and then hopefully it'll be on a day where they haven't got guests, and we can have a look. We can investigate upstairs, and we'll try and find out what the another two entities are in the main building in the main pub, in the bar area and in the dining area. And there is something that rushes through from the kitchen area through to the dining area.
Are we going to mention a certain thing that happened that Andy contacted you about?
Yeah, go on.
Well, he sent the message to you first.
Right, well, one of our team members, he should be in here somewhere, Andy. We've known far too many Andys. You've got Andy Williams, who's the landlord of the pub, and you've got Andy. I can never remember Andy's surname. What's Andy's surname? Andy, what's your surname? Can't bloody remember. Yeah, he's one of our researchers on the team. Oh, Jesus Christ, Leela. Yeah, he's one of our researchers on the team. So, do you want to stick your hand in here and say hello? Because we were just. Hello. That's Rachel. Bye, Rachel. Love you, Rachel. Love you. She's gone again. Yeah, he sent me a photo taken above a beam, and there's something just on top of one of the beams, and we're not sure. There's also a photo that the other Andy, the landlord, sent me, and it looks like somebody looking out from the window. I need to send that to you, Wayne. I won't put it up here yet because we've not verified what it is yet. But this one, can I put this on here? I'll put it up on the Dark Mirrors wall later. There is a picture of the beam, and you can see something above the beam. Let's see if we can do it on here. Hang on. See if we can do it. Andy. Right. Can you see that? Yeah? Can you see that little bit there, just at the top of the beam? Remember that, because I'll put that up on in fact, I'll do it now. I'll put it up on the main show's wall on Facebook. You have a look, see what you think. We have had a young lady who sees a lot of the things that we don't, who keeps circling all the things that she can see that's out there. So let's see what people can make of it and what they see. So let's put that on there now. That is just going up onto the Dark Mirrors wall now as we speak. If it hurries to flip up. Dooby quack quack. Right, come on. Come on, come on. There you go. It's up on the wall now. You guys go and have a look. Tell me what you think. And again, if you look just above the beam there, tell me what you think that is. Not sure if it's the top of a head or something peeping out, or if it's the top of a bolt holding on the bit of wood underneath. I don't know. But you guys do some investigating and you see what you tell us what you think. So yeah, that'd be interesting. But yeah, we're going to go back and we're going to do part 2 when the weather's a bit warmer. And to be absolutely honest, can't wait. As I say, Andy and Laura are great hosts, really nice guys. So if you're on holiday in North Yorkshire, go and book a room, stay there. Great food, and they're nice people. Plus, it's haunted. It's a haunted pub. Proper haunted pub it is.
Thing was as well, when we first got in there, do you remember me actually saying how strange it was that it actually smelled like a pub smelled before the smoking ban and all the health and safety and everything? I found that really strange because, like, you go into a lot of pubs, and since the smoking ban came in, the smell of a pub has changed. Doesn't smell like a pub anymore. Yet when I walked in there, it was almost as if I'd walked through a time portal and gone back in time to before you couldn't smoke in a pub. It literally smelt the way a pub used to smell 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It just, very strange.
And it's got open fires and it's got old oak beams and very old stuff. It's got some brass plates from pubs all around the world in it. There was one from the Grand Hotel in Cairo, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And there's full of interesting stuff in there. So yeah, if you're going to be around that area, go and have a look. It's well worth it. Be sure to mention the Dark Mirror radio show as well. But as I say, we'll be going back and doing part 2 when the weather's a bit warmer. Because they've asked us to go back, which was really nice. And I can't wait, absolutely can't wait, because I wanted to carry on the investigation, but unfortunately, Andy, he had to be up. I think it was about 3 or 4 hours later to do all the breakfast for the guests, poor bugger. So I was like, yeah, that's fair enough. We'll go and we'll do part 2. So yeah, brilliant night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we came back home, and I think we were home about 3:30, 4:45 in the morning, and we had a cup of tea in the kitchen, didn't we? And then we were all going, what the bloody hell was that in the window? Oh, that's a point. I need to send you that photo of the window. So you can start talking now for a change. Let me send you the picture.
I can start talking now. What do I start talking about? You caught me.
I don't know.
No, it was really good. I mean, I first picked up on something when we first got there outside. And if I remember rightly, it was before you mentioned that the stocks were behind me.
Yeah.
I was standing there
looking
at the front of the pub, and then I just turned, and because it was something was pulling my right hand side to turn me around, and I ended up facing so that the pub was to my left, and then the stocks was to my right, and I said, "There's something over here where this bus stop is," and you then turned around and said, "That's where the stocks are."
Yeah.
I mean, that's for my first time I've been to the Scarborough area, so I don't know anything about, and like Mark said, we don't know any of the history of the place because there isn't anything. There's just bits about the town itself, and then that's it. So for me to sort of all of a sudden go, well, there's something over there, and then there was something to do with the lake as well, which was a bit strange.
There's a horrible feeling over that lake. Yeah, night, Lola. Thank you for joining us over on YouTube, and we're here every single Monday night. So hopefully we'll see you back again. Did I send you that screenshot of that?
What is that? Was that? Oh, yes, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, you know more about it than I do.
Oh, no, Andy messaged me and he said, we just sat here and a glass exploded on the shelf for no reason. And I said to him, was there any cracks? And it was hot, cold, just come out of the pot wash. No, nothing. It was just sat down on the shelf. But they've heard footsteps going above the bar area when there's been nobody up in the guest rooms. They've heard all these, these footsteps, and then Laura's heard it as well. I think somebody else heard it as well.
Yeah,
and
that's what we were talking about when we first got there, wasn't there? It was about
that's right.
the
And they
footsteps.
were just sat there, and this glass went and just shattered, and that glass was just sat on the shelf, and it just went bang. And this was after we'd investigated. So, and I did say to him, no, we didn't open up a portal to hell, so you're quite fine. But I mean, personally, I blame aliens. But that's what it was. But brilliant night, absolutely brilliant night. For those of you who like investigations and stuff, go and check out the 2 live videos that we did, because we did it in 2 parts. Have a look at those on the Dark Mirrors wall. But yeah, good night. Can't wait to go back, and hopefully, young Mr. Wayne will come up and do the second part of the investigation with us. You never know; he might try and bring Mrs. Wayne with him too, because that'd be nice to have her there as well. Because she is rather clairvoyant, you see. So that'd be good.
She was eager. She couldn't wait for me to get home.
Sorry?
I wanted to get home before the kids went to bed, but I got caught in traffic on the A1. So I missed the kids going to bed. And it was convenient they were going to bed just as I was at a standstill sitting in traffic, and they video called me to say goodnight.
Yeah. That's cool.
So...
Well, no, that'd be good. I think in a second we shall disappear, because it is 10:30. But we'll be back to normal viewing next week, and normal talking shenanigans, silliness, nonsense, slagging off politicians, and talking about UFOs, USOs, and big woolly monsters, which is probably me without my t-shirt on in the middle of summertime, but we don't know. But
and I would like to apologise, because I know some people are on it. I was going to be doing a live feed last night on my group, Ron Stevenson Spookanori, for the 10th birthday anniversary competition. However, by the time I got home and had something to eat, I was absolutely shattered. I'd driven for 5 hours without stopping, which shouldn't have really done, but I wanted to get home. And I'd forgotten all about the live altogether. So for those that are watching that did enter, I'm going to do the live reveal next Sunday, so that I can obviously have things ready and do the announcement then. So I do apologise for not doing it last night. I was tired.
I'm not surprised, mate, and I hope the desk comes in handy as well. Hope you like that.
Yeah, it's still sitting in the back of the car at the moment, because I'm sorting out space to put it. So,
just 1 second, Lena! Bloody cat's going on the door. Pack it in, little bugger. And anyway, yeah, we'll be back with more nonsense next week, but we'll be back to UFOs and stuff. But remember, there is, according to all platforms, and not just people who do podcasts and shows like ourselves, but high ups in the governments and things like that, they're all saying that something is coming, but they don't know what.
You just said that word.
I was drunk at the time and on drugs. I don't know what you're talking about. High ups in the Bobberment said that there is something coming, but they don't know what. Or if they do know what, they're not saying. Or, like I said, is this the start of Project Bluebeam? For those of you who don't know what Project Bluebeam is, we'll talk about it next week. But Project Bluebeam is very interesting and involves the use of high-end holograms. So we will have to see. Oh, and laser weapons as well. So I'd like to say thank you to everybody on these new platforms that has been watching us from all over the world. It's been brilliant. We've had South America, Asia, North America, Africa, we all over the place. Be brilliant. So yeah, and remember, the new inn, Thornton the Dale, we'll be doing a part 2 there. But if you happen to be there in the middle of summertime, near when we're doing the investigation,
anytime,
book a room.
If you're near there at any time, just pop in.
Pop in, have a beer, book a room, have some dinner. Nice place. Anyway, on that note, we're out of here. Thank you very much for joining me again, my friend.
No problemo.
And we will see everybody next week, 9:30 GMT. So until then, remember, keep it real. Keep your eyes to the skies. If you see anything, send it in to us on the Facebook page, the Dark Mirror Radio Show, or go to the darkmirrorshow.co.uk. And on there is a WhatsApp button, and you can press that, send us a message, and it will come directly to myself and Wayne's WhatsApps. Or you can Facebook message us. If you see anything, send it. Okay? And, oh, yeah, we've got an email address as well, the Dark Mirror Radio Show at yahoo.co.uk. It's co.uk or .com. I can't remember, but it's definitely a Dark Mirror Radio Show at Yahoo something. But if you see anything, send it to us. And we will bring it up next week. So until then, thank you very much. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.